This is Dennis Callan for Hawaii Geographic Society's World Traveler, taking you through Europe by train. It's Travel Quiz. Where do you think we are now? Hint, a castle on the hill, fountains and gardens. This is Dennis Callan for Hawaii Geographic Society, taking you to Austria. The main street of the old town of Salzburg hasn't changed much in the last couple of 100 years. It's a delightful spot for strolling. And there's some quiet little back streets you can get to. And there's a beautiful garden right in the heart of town. One of the great pleasure spots of Salzburg is the Mirabell Gardens and beyond the Mirabell Palace. It's beautifully landscaped. It was designed by the great Austrian architect Fischer von Erlach during the Baroque period, originally constructed during the early 17th century by one of the archbishops who was ruling Salzburg at the time. He built it for his mistress, and here they had 16 children. It was rebuilt over the years, and finally we see today one of the most beautiful parks in all of Europe, really, the Mirabell Gardens. And there's a museum inside, and there's a concert hall. In the evening you can listen to Mozart inside the palace. One of the museums that it contains is the Museum of Baroque Architecture, and we're going to go have a look at that. And the gardens themselves offer a wonderfully pleasant stroll. It's just 5 minutes from the old town across the river, and when you're in Salzburg, you must come visit the Mirabell Gardens. Yes, it would really be a shame for you to visit Salzburg and miss seeing the Mirabell Gardens. And so many visitors are only in town for a couple of hours, unfortunately. They might be passing through on a bus tour, and the bus stops and lets them off for a quick look at the old town, and then back on the bus and they're gone, and they never saw the gardens just across the river. It's only a few minutes to walk across the bridge. And another bonus you'll find at the gardens is the Baroque Museum. For a slight entrance fee, you get an eyeful of the Baroque style of sculpture and painting and architecture. It's an incredible collection, and it really does let you know what the Baroque is all about. Swirls of garments is your first clue. Lots of little angels is another, and here's a Bernini piece. It's a terracotta study for his great work in St. Peter's and a painting of Bernini himself. We have works by Austrian artists as well as the Italian and the French from the school of Baroque. A ceiling by Tiepolo. We have got other works here by Rubens, Pellegrini, the French artist Fragonard. You see with the Baroque there's an incredible movement, there's motion, there's swirls. Da Cortona is represented here as well. And the Baroque theme is continued on into the landscape of the gardens themselves. All in all, it's a complete aesthetic experience when you come to the Mirabell Palace and Gardens. The casual tranquility of this arbor was surprised by a sudden rush of business suits. Who are these people marching through? Well, turns out it's a Russian delegation. It's the Minister of Finance visiting Salzburg as part of an international conference. He's the fellow in the shirt sleeves. The boss doesn't have to wear a jacket. And you don't have to wear a jacket either when you're visiting Salzburg. It's a casual place. As a tourist, you certainly don't need a jacket and a tie on your travels. There are some lovely evening events that we'll take you to, and even there, a jacket and tie is not required. A view from the castle overlooking the Mirabell Gardens, looking down now onto the old town of Salzburg. You can see how the river flows right through the middle of town. The gardens are on one side, the old town center is on the other side. Just a few minutes walk will get you there across this bridge. See how friendly they are to wheeled traffic. You can push your bicycle right up the steps over the bridge. Very accessible to all. Bikes are real important here, as you can see, commemorated even in a sculpture. As well for your baby buggies. Just wheel them right up. Very friendly to wheeled devices of all kinds. And here's an innovative wheelchair. That's one of the many nice things about the pedestrian zones that you'll find in most of the European town centers nowadays. It's very accessible, real easy to get around, very peaceful, and calm in the center of the old towns with the pedestrian walkways. They have two pedestrian bridges over the river here in Salzburg. And from this sweeping view of the castle overlooking the old town, you see how the bridge connects right into the center. All you have to do is cross one busy street, and you're safe again into the pedestrian zone. No cars allowed here in the center, just for people on their feet and baby buggies and other quiet wheeled traffic. The little side alleys offer a glimpse into the past of Salzburg, and of course you'll always find shopping opportunities and plenty of places to eat. Notice many of these restaurants have got a barrel vaulted effect. It looks like a medieval basement, and in fact that's what many of these buildings are, medieval, dating back to the 1300s and 1400s. Salzburg is a very old town. Heading across Lake Wolfgang to the little village of St. Wolfgang. It's one of the most popular outings from Salzburg that you can take. It's a half-a-day trip. You get out of town and back into Salzburg in the early afternoon. So it's a really nice way to spend a morning. You ride out by bus to the boat, and then the boat takes you across the lake. And here we see the church that was the centerpiece of the construction of the town. The town today is a thriving little tourist village. Very popular. It used to be a religious pilgrimage village back in the 1500s and 1600s. And at the end, we'll take you inside that little church and show you its masterpiece. But first, let's have a little stroll around this picture book charming village, complete with swans in the middle of the dock area. There's cafes on both sides of this charming little town square, and what more could you want? Once we get to the village, we have some free time. Our tour escort for the day trip gives us our signals and tells us when to meet again. And then we're off to wander about and have a stroll, maybe have some pastries, take some pictures, buy some souvenirs, wave to the friendly locals, and just hang out in this picturesque little village of St. Wolfgang. You see here the White Horse Inn. It's the most famous establishment in town because it was the subject of an operetta that was written back in the 1930s. This attracted even more visitors, and you can see why they come. Such a pleasant setting, a cafe at the lakeside, and all the different sweets and pastries you can conjure up. One of the great things about Austrian cuisine is the desserts, so be sure to save room for dessert, or if it's the afternoon, just go ahead and indulge yourself. After all, when you're on vacation, this is not a time to count calories. This is a time to have fun. And you're out doing a lot of walking anyway, so you're burning off some of those calories. So go ahead, enjoy yourself. Medieval signs hanging out from the buildings are more of the attractive elements of this little village of St. Wolfgang. We're in the Alps. It's the Austrian Alps, very similar to the architecture of southern Germany and eastern Switzerland as well, too. A statue of Wolfgang Mozart himself. Mozart's mother's birthplace is near here. We promised to take you inside the church. Here's the masterpiece. It's the Pocker altar, an exquisite example of Austrian wood carving from the 15th century. The church looks modest on the outside, but don't let that trick you into not going in, because you'll find that and many other treasures. We're back on our boat and going back across Lake Wolfgang, and we're leaving town. That wraps up our look at Salzburg. Now it's time to catch a train and head on to our next destination. Traveling by train in Europe is one of the great ways to get around. You don't have to hassle about driving or getting lost, or it's a lot better than riding on a bus. The trains are big and smooth and comfortable, and they're quiet, and they'll take you just about anywhere.